Welcome to The Quiet Record, where every place has a story. Some are written down, others are left behind, waiting for someone to listen. The story of Bradwardine, Manitoba begins quietly, as many prairie settlements do, with a long journey west and a promise written into law. Today, Bradwardine is little more than a name on a map, a handful of homes, scattered remnants, and the open prairie where a village once stood. But for a time, this place was alive, shaped by hope, hard work, and the rhythm of the land. In the late 1870s and the early 1800s, settlers began arriving in southwestern Manitoba as part of Canada's great homesteading push. Families from Ontario, along with Scottish immigrants, traveled west from Winnipeg along the Hudson Bay Trail. The journey was slow and demanding. Ox-drawn Red River carts creaked across the prairie, advancing only 15 to 20 miles a day over rough terrain. What waited at the end was opportunity. Land made available through the Dominion Lands Act. For a small filing fee, settlers could claim 160 acres, provided they lived on it, built shelter, and broke at least 30 acres within 3 years. Early claimants soon followed. Men like William Harvey and Ernest Glynns staked land by 1879. Families such as the Rutherfords arrived in 1882 after long, multi-stage journeys by ship, train, and wagon, finally settling near the Oak River in simple sod shanties. At first, Bradwardine was not a village, only scattered homesteads surrounded by the open prairies. That began to change in 1884. On August 1st, a post office was established, making Bradwardine's emergence as a recognized settlement. It operated from the home of John Parr, who also opened a small store and served as the community's first postmaster. Before this, mail had been unreliable, carried on foot, handled through neighboring districts. The post office gave Bradwardine a name, an identity, and a place on the map. A Methodist church and cemetery soon followed, offering spiritual and social grounding for the growing district. Transportation would soon reshape everything. Although direct rail service did not reach Bradwardine until 1902, the Canadian Pacific Railway's arrival in Brandon in 1881 transformed access across the region. Supplies became cheaper, markets became reachable. When the Great Northwest Central Railway finally arrived, later absorbed into the CPR, Bradwardine entered its most active years. The village grew into a service center for surrounding farms. Grain moved by rail, businesses clustered near the siding. By the early 1900s, Bradwardine supported a hotel, livery stable, blacksmith, lumberyard, implement dealers, grocery stores, and general merchants. A private bank opened, later becoming Bank of Hamilton Branch. A school was built in 1905 and expanded as enrollment grew. Foresters Hall served as a school, gathering place, and later a Legion Hall. At its height, Bradwardine likely supported 1 to 200 residents. Modest, but self-sustaining. The decline began quietly. The Great Depression of the 1930s brought collapsing wheat prices, drought, and widespread hardship. Farms failed, families left. Small villages lost the population that sustained them. As agriculture consolidated into larger holdings, Bradwardine's businesses closed one by one. Rail traffic declined. Services disappeared. After the Second World War, the losses accelerated. The railway station was removed, the local school closed. Without rail, without education, and without commerce, daily life became unsustainable. By the late 20th century, even the post office, the institution that had defined Bradwardine since 1884, closed permanently. Today, Bradwardine exists only as an unincorporated locality. A few homes remain, along with scattered remnants of what once was. Yet traces endure: a preserved grain elevator, a concrete bank vault, and relocated buildings now housed in regional museums. Bradwardine's story is not unique. It is a prairie story, or hope, resilience, and quiet disappearance. And in the open land that remains, its memory still lingers. Thank you for spending a few moments here with me. If this place spoke to you, I hope you'll join me again as we explore another forgotten corner and the stories they still hold.